This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, All Progressives Congress APC says despite the endorsement of President Bola Tinubu by various organs of the party, its presidential ticket remains open to other aspirants. DSS asks court to accept statements from 3 alleged terrorists as evidence. Niger Delta youth storm NNPCL headquarters in protest over CEO appointment. And 2 children killed, 17 persons injured in Minneapolis school shooting.
On business news, Securities and Exchange Commission boss says Nigeria's capital market sets to hit 300 trillion naira by the end of 2025.
On sports news tonight, 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic punched his ticket to the 3rd round of the US Open after coming from a set down to defeat Zachary Bashta.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, a day after the derailment of a train along the Abuja-Kaduna corridor, passengers are absent following the suspension of the service.
Tonight, we begin with party politics. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, the All Progressives Congress, the APC, has dismissed speculation that it plans to print a single presidential nomination form exclusively for President Bola Tinubu, thereby shutting out other party members from contesting the ticket. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja on the outcome of the recent by-elections, the APC National Organizing Secretary Sulaiman Agugu clarified that although both the National Working Committee and several state chapters have endorsed President Tinubu as their preferred candidate, the nomination process remains open to all interested aspirants.
By the grace of Allah Almighty and through the commitment of our leaders, members of and the supporters of our party nationwide, the All Progressive Congress emerged victorious in 13 constituencies out of the 16 constituencies that were contested. You see, there is no dictation or dictatorship in democracy, but the aspiration of the people will be the wish of the party. And it is the wish of the party. We, as leaders of the party today, the NWC, have endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this year as the next presidential candidate of the party. And by extension, other organs have done similar thing. Governors in most of the states, zones in most of the 6-door political zones have also adopted same. But that does not mean that the door is closed. That does not mean that when time comes, like we did always, we'll make our timetable known so that for anybody who wants to aspire to be the next president of this country, under the platform of All Progressive Congress, we will not deny him that opportunity to come and purchase one. We will allow him to come and pay so that he can exercise his franchise as a member of the All Progressive Congress.
The Department of State Services has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to admit into evidence the statements made by 3 suspected terrorists accused of spying on American and Israeli interests in Nigeria on behalf of individuals in Iran. The suspects, Haruna Ali Abbas, Ibrahim Husseini Musa, and Adam Sulaiman, were arrested in Kano and Lagos in 2013 and charged with terrorism-related offenses. During the trial, the defendants challenged the admissibility of the statements obtained during interrogation, arguing that they were not made voluntarily. This led to the court ordering trial within trial to determine their admissibility.
The courtroom is largely empty as the trial of 3 suspected terrorists resume in Abuja. According to the charge, Haruna Abbas is said to have been arrested on the 16th of March 2013 at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, on his way from Lebanon. He is accused of recruiting young Nigerians, including Ibrahim Husseini Musa and Adam Suleiman, for terrorism training in Iran. Abbas is equally accused of embarking on an act preparatory to an act of terrorism by compiling a list of American and Israeli concerns in Lagos and their locations in a map which included the USA consular office in Lagos and sent them to one Abu Ali in Iran using coded language with encryption software through his email addresses. At the resumed trial, the prosecutor, Mr. Bello Abu, while adopting his final written address, takes the court through the evidence supplied by the prosecution in the trial within trial to establish that the defendants made their statements voluntarily. Counsel to the DSS faults a claim by the defendants that they were compelled to make the statements, as he argued that the claim is an afterthought. He prayed the court to admit the statements in evidence and proceed with the substantive trial.
Yeah, the matter has commenced, as you can see, earnestly due to the new leadership in DSS, which is taking steps to ensure that all matters that are ongoing, that are very slow, are expedited. And that's why we are in court during vacation to have this matter dealt with immediately. So today the matter came up, and for adoption of written addresses in the trial within trial. So the matter has now been adjourned for ruling on the trial within trial.
On their part, the defense lawyers, Mr. Baladakon and Mr. Bello Ibrahim, argued otherwise and prayed the court to reject the statements. As the lawyers to the parties adopt their final written addresses in relation to the trial within trial, Justice Emeka Nwite adjourned ruling to a date to be communicated to the parties.
A group of Niger Delta youths today staged a protest at the headquarters of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, in Abuja. The protesters, led by the president of the Joy Youth Council, Mr. Jonathan Lokobiri, are demanding the appointment of a Niger Delta citizen as the group chief executive officer of the company. They have also called on the management of NNPCL to reinstate some Niger Delta indigenes who were previously dismissed from the company.
Youths from the Niger Delta take positions at the headquarters of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited with placards showing their demands. The protesters go ahead to state their demands.
We have been neglected so much in the Niger Delta. The oil production and the gas that we have today is from the Niger Delta, but there's a lot of neglect. There is no proper development in our region. We learned that some of our persons has been dropped from their position in this office. We want him to restate them immediately.
The Minister of Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawande, arrives, but is not allowed into the premises by the security operatives. He goes on to assure the protesters that the federal government takes the Niger Delta as a key component of the nation's development.
I'm an Ijo boy.
Thank you.
And I'm from the Niger Delta also.
Thank you.
But, you know, there's one thing that is all about we, the young people. We have the energy to show our agitations when we know that things are not the way we want it. But as a government, we have also made up our mind that if the president can give us this opportunity for someone like me to become a minister, then we must look for every way to listen to the young people. And you can see that the majority of those that are here are young people. They can be from the ethnic groups, from the Niger Delta area, but we are one Nigeria, and we are to listen and represent them well. So the situation will be resolved, here will be cleared, I can assure you, and I know that we'll get to the proper level whereby every issue will be addressed.
This is not the first time that Niger Delta groups will be protesting at the headquarters of the company, alleging marginalization, and this time the group is urging the management of the company to take deliberate steps to address their demands.
The Port Harcourt refinery
which Nigeria spent $1.5 billion to repair, that only started working in December, has been shut down by Mr. Ojulari, simply because he wants to get out our people who are working in those places. Mr. Ojulari unilaterally has sacked Nigerians who are working in the NNPC before he met. So our demand here is for him to reverse his decision and return our people back to NNPC.
This action follows a 7-day ultimatum issued on the 22nd of August, calling for the prosecution of the Group Chief Executive Officer by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Staying in the oil and gas sector, the leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the Petroleum Technology Development Fund have called for greater investment in research aimed at addressing the challenges facing Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Speaking at a meeting between Pengasan and PTDF management at the College of Petroleum and Energy Studies in Kaduna, the stakeholders emphasized the need for modern strategies to tackle crude oil theft and environmental degradation.
The leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, and the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF, arrived at the College of the Petroleum and Energy Studies in Kaduna State for a strategic meeting for the development of the nation's oil and gas industry. The meeting is convened at the instance of the PTDF Executive Secretary to discuss government's efforts to upskill the skills of indigenous oil workers who man the nation's major revenue source.
To date, we have sponsored over 15,000 Nigerians, undergraduate and postgraduate levels, both within the country and outside the country. We have also intervene in a number of institutions in the country. We have upgraded facilities that relate oil and gas in 26 universities across the country.
The PTDF was established in 1973 to help develop a robust human capital resource for the nation's oil and gas sector, a responsibility whose importance Pengasan believes should be emphasized.
We believe strongly to the fact that we can't equate anything to capacity building. We can't equate anything to human capital. The development of any nation is as strong and as solid as the human capital such country has. So for us, we are totally excited to be part of this. We are totally excited to be here today because we strongly believe that Nigeria as a country, the oil and gas industry will be much more better for it.
Available records show that the federal government, through the PTDF, has provided scholarship to over 15,000 Nigerians for research on various topics relating to the oil and gas sector. The leadership of Pengasan and the PTDF believe strongly that such investment in research is key to effectively take ownership of the sector.
They should carry out researches on areas that are affecting the industry. For example, oil theft could be an area of research. How to curb oil theft in the Niger Delta could be an area of research. We could pick, how to mitigate against environmental degradation as it's happening today in the Niger Delta. Could be area of research. So when such researches, when the result comes up, it is easier for industry to adopt them and to implement.
You go to Shell, go to Chevron, go to Mobil. Several thousands of Nigerians are occupying different positions in those industries. Ask the president of Pengasan, he can attest to that. So apart from that, some of them are into researches in our universities, because like I said, we also endow in such as in our local universities. And we have, so far, we have about 11 patents that have been developed to solve industry problems.
The view here is that an equipped human resources sector is critical for the success of any industry, and the Pengasan leadership is hoping that the nation's College of Petroleum and Energy Studies, under the management of the PTDF, will fill that vital need.
In part two, after the break, Imo State government approves of a 100% increment in minimum wage for its workers. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. All Progressives Congress APC says despite the endorsement of President Bola Tinubu by various organs of the party, its presidential ticket remains open to other aspirants. The DSS asks courts to accept statements from 3 alleged terrorists as evidence. Niger Delta youth storm NMPCL headquarters in protest over CEO appointment. And 2 children killed and 17 persons injured in Minneapolis school shooting. In a bid to enhance workers' welfare, the Imo State government has approved an increase in the minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 104,000 naira. Governor Hope Uzodimma announced the new wage structure during the crucial meeting with labor leaders in the government house in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Our correspondent, Eyitope Kuteyi, reports.
It's a crucial meeting between the Imo State government and representatives of organized labor. Governor Uzodimma moved straight to the core of the meeting, the announcement of a new salary structure, which raises the minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 104,000 naira.
Count this, which used to be 79,000 as entry point, and end point was 342,000, will now be 109,000 and end point 471. Halves with MDS and all that, which is what used to be called the minimum wage and all that. Should be now, instead of 76,000 presently and 275, we will now move it as entry point, which is the minimum, 104,000. And then the end point will be 431,000.
The governor also approved 16 billion naira for the immediate clearance of all outstanding gratuities owed to pensioners in the state.
All verified workers, totaling 65 billion that we presented. We started paying. The last batch, which is totaling 16 billion, will be paid from tomorrow. If we do that, it means that the issue of gratuity in Imo State is now settled.
The gesture elicits commendation by labor leaders and pensioners who describe it as a historic step towards improving the lives of workers and retirees.
Thank you very much. And we have nothing much to tell you than we want to assure you that we are going to support the government, we are going to be with you, we are going to assure you that at any point in time that there's a need for us to have an interaction with you. We will always do that.
I wouldn't know how next to express it. We are making billionaire. Each time you pay, you see many people having millions. Those that have never known millions in their life. And the one you are going to pay from tomorrow, you are also going to make millions.
With this development, Imo State has set a new benchmark, signaling a commitment by the Uzodimma-led administration to prioritize workers' welfare. Eyitope Kuteyi, Channels Television News.
Let's now join Victoria Longjohn in our Abuja studios to continue with the news at 10. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Anne. A day after the train derailment at Asham Station along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, the Idu train station has been left deserted by passengers. Now, this follows the suspension of all operations on the route by the Nigerian Railway Corporation on August 26, 2025, in response to the incident. As of now, only staff of the rail station and security operatives are present in and around the station. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, gives an update. On August 26, 2025, at about 11 a.m., an Abuja-Kaduna train experienced a derailment at Asham Station while en route Kaduna State from Abuja. Following the incident, the Nigerian Railway Corporation suspended the service till further notice. A day after the incident, Channels Television visits the Idu train station in Abuja. On a normal day, this train station receives at least 200 passengers. But due to the train derailment at Asham Station along the Abuja-Kaduna Way, which has now led to a temporary ban on all operations along that route, what we can see now is there are no passengers inside. This hall is empty, and the only passengers that are here now are workers of this train station. The situation is the same at the Rigasa train station in Kaduna State, as the once bustling station is now a shadow of itself. Businesses are most affected as they remain closed due to the suspension of the service. Workers and businesses concerned in the area are not happy with the turn of events.
Suspension of the train affected us, not even us drivers. We have even those boys that used to wash our cars, they benefit from us. We have those people that used to load from the train to motor park. At least in a day, we used to load more than 40 to 50 cars. In a day now, most of us are here, stranded.
They just for 2 hours here, no passenger, no load. So the thing they pay me, as per people no day.
For now, the Nigerian Railway Corporation plans to resume the service upon the completion of the reconstruction and proper safety audit of the affected rail tracks. Nevertheless, business owners at the train station are hoping that authorities will expedite the process in time, while also hoping that the factors responsible for the incident are promptly addressed to avert future occurrence. Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News. And President Bola Tinubu has departed Brazil for Abuja following a high-level state visit which focused on strengthening Nigeria-Brazil bilateral relations. The presidential jet took off from Brasilia International Airport, Air Force Base, at about 12:57 p.m. local time. But before he left the South American nation, he met with a cross-section of Nigerians resident there and pledged to fast-track Nigeria's development through technology and food security, aligning with the success models of emerging economies like Brazil.
I'm proudly standing before you, making a commitment to all of you that Nigeria will be changed for the good of all of us and for the benefit and prosperity of all our citizens. We give priority to development. Once upon a time, we can look back on history with heart that Brazil and Nigeria were on the same level of development. Look at us today and look at Brazil. It is necessary for you to be challenged, and we are. Personally, I am challenged, ready to work. We can do it. There's nothing we set our mind to that we cannot do. Look at the technological development of this country. Look at the ability of this nation to achieve food sovereignty. Just imagine. What do they have that we don't have? We have everything. We have the brain. We have the energy. Yes. We have the population. Yes. The youth.
We have more from the president's trip to Brazil, but before then, still ahead on the news at 10, SEC boss says Nigeria's capital market set to hit 300 trillion naira by the end of 2025. That's in business news. To join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. Still with the president's visit to Brazil. After 3 days of high-level meetings and bilateral agreements, government officials have returned to Lagos from Brazil on board the inaugural direct flight from Nigeria and Brazil, between Nigeria and Brazil. According to the officials, development is part of the current administration's efforts to strengthen ties and expand economies of both nations.
Ministers and top government officials who accompanied President Bola Tinubu to Brazil on his 3-day visit arrived at Murtala Mohammed International Airport on the flights between Nigeria and Brazil, courtesy of Air Peace.
Let's wait for the Minister of Aviation.
The visit, according to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, is geared towards boosting bilateral relations, enhancing trade partnerships, and fostering cooperation in areas such as agriculture, energy security, as well as technology.
We have just landed on the first maiden flight between Brazil and Lagos. As you know, Mr. President was in Brazil, and he made a commitment together with President Lula da Silva of Brazil to have direct flight connection between Nigeria and Brazil. In that agreement, Air Peace was designated as one of the carriers that has been approved to undertake this kind of shuttle. And then there's also Caverton, I think, for cargo. So we all decided to join, courtesy of the chairman of Air Peace. He took us gratis, all from Brazil here to Lagos. This is part of the fulfillment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed agenda, opening up Nigeria, opening up the world to Nigeria.
Members of the Nigerian delegation include the Minister of Trade, Foreign Affairs, Aviation and Aerospace Development, amongst others.
Brazil is the biggest economy in South America, and of course, Nigeria is considered the biggest economy in Africa. So connecting these two economies was very key to both presidents. The trade between both countries plummeted from $10 billion to $2 billion. And that is how, in 10 years, and that was how the things got sour. But with this, of course, relations will pick up again. And key to the achievement of all the agreements we signed is the connectivity between both countries.
Several agreements were signed during the visit, including framework for joint ventures in renewable energy and agricultural development, as well as knowledge-sharing initiatives in technology and infrastructure. And the chairman of Air Peace believes the flight connection between Nigeria and South America will be very crucial in achieving the set objectives outlined by both nations.
Connectivity is the key to everything signed. Our dear president signed several MOUs with Brazil. He has just opened this country for the youth of this country. He's creating a Nigeria for the future of everyone. And you might not know the opportunities that are embedded in all the MOUs that are signed until they start being implemented. It's huge. But what we did today is symbolic and at the same time real.
This historic flight marks a significant step towards deepening Nigeria's global partnerships and driving sustainable economic growth, as Nigerians are hopeful to feel and see the impact of the agreements signed in Brazil. Dominic Iwiwu,
and that's
Channel
it from Abuja. It's now back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Victoria. The media has been identified as a vital tool in strengthening bilateral relations by shaping narratives that go beyond stereotypes. And this was the focus of the August edition of the Nigeria-South Africa Chamber of Commerce Monthly Breakfast Forum, which highlighted the media's role in fostering stronger ties between both nations through the MTN Media Innovation Program. At the event, journalists engaged in robust discussions on how storytelling, responsible reporting, and cross-border collaboration can further deepen relations between Nigeria and South Africa.
The August edition of the Nigeria-South Africa Chamber of Commerce Monthly Breakfast Forum explores the role of the media in driving cultural understanding and diplomacy between Nigeria and South Africa. The session features the MTN Media Innovation Program, MIP, as a case study.
The media plays a significant role in international relations in that it serves as a bridge between nations and cultures. But the media will not do all this if the practitioners are not well formed. Such exposure promotes cross-cultural understanding and minimizes the perpetuation of stereotypes and biases.
The panel session features journalists who participated in the program. They share insights into the experiences of cultural exchange and how the MIP is helping to move reportage beyond stereotypes to foster deeper ties, thereby nurturing deeper mutual understanding.
One had to be very careful, the sort of videos we are seeing, the sort of experiences you were reading on social media. And it is important, with this MTN MIP program, because for many of the journalists who have not been there, now they get the opportunity to go there, and now they can better report about what's going on in South Africa.
The forum then seamlessly transitioned into a special media parley with the unveiling of a commemorative logo in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Nigeria South Africa Chamber of Commerce.
Having come this far, having laid the foundation, we are looking up to a very, very bright future, a future that is galvanized by our coming together, the two countries, key countries in the continent.
Other members of the Chamber's leadership also reflect on the organization's impact over the years.
There's better understanding between people in both countries, and with this understanding, the stereotype classification of Nigerians as people dealing in drugs, being involved in illegal activities, I think that has been debunked. We now know that you have a lot of Nigerians who are professors in South Africa, who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are people engaged in gainful employment in South Africa.
At the end of the day, we do want to work together. A lot of Nigerians working in South Africa, a lot of South Africans working here, a higher level of relating to Africa as a continent and stop separating and identifying individual countries the way we do.
During the August Breakfast Forum, the Nigeria South Africa Chamber of Commerce reaffirmed a strong partnership with MTN Nigeria, emphasizing their shared commitment to enhancing regional integration and economic development across Africa.
We continue in the world of business. Dominic Iwewu is standing by.
Thank you. And on business news, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Dr. Emomotimi Agama, has projected that Nigeria's capital market is on course to hit 300 trillion naira in capitalization by the end of 2025. Mr. Agama made this known in Brazil during a meeting with President Bola Tinubu alongside the board of the Nigerian Exchange Group. He says the growth outlook reflects rising investor confidence, ongoing reforms, and the government's strong commitments to market-driven economic development. The domestic equities market bucked the positive trend recorded in 2 trading sessions as the all-share index fell today by 0.36%. Lad Williams has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, Nigeria's stock market ended the midweek trading day in the red with the all-share index declining by 0.36%. This marks a reversal of the recent positive sentiment that started off the week there, 0.36% down, still holding on to the 141,000 level. That's for the all-share index, reflecting a day of widespread profit-taking by investors, and lots were driven by sell-off in broad range of large caps stocks across different sectors like GTCO, Access Core, and Guinness Nigeria. But we see the gainers there. Deep Cap, that's up there, 1.74 cover, up 4.82%. Not the big 9% mover as we see there for the gainers chart. Let's look at the losers chart now. And we see the insurance guys there. They're in the top 5, and the Cornerstone Insurance, that's leading there, 10% decline, 6.92 cover. So as the bears...
Welcome back. Outside our shores, U.S. city of Minneapolis has been reacting to an attack that happened earlier today. 2 children aged 8 and 10 were killed. 17 others were injured following a school shooting. Here's Simon Pisa with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Denmark's foreign minister has summoned the top US diplomat in Copenhagen following a report that American citizens have been conducting covert operations in Greenland. Denmark's public broadcaster quoted sources as saying the aim was to infiltrate Greenland's society and promote its secession from Denmark to the US. Danish intelligence warned Greenland was being targeted by various kinds of influence campaigns.
I have a message for our American friends.
Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said any attempts to interfere in the internal affairs of the kingdom will of course be unacceptable, and the US charged affairs has been summoned in that light. 2 police officers who were shot dead while on duty in a rural Australian town have been named as a massive search continues for their alleged killer. Victoria Police identified the victims as 59-year-old Detective Neil Thompson, a local officer on the brink of retirement, and 35-year-old Senior Constable Vadim Devart. The pair had travelled to the property in Porpunka, northeast of Melbourne, alongside 8 other colleagues. Another officer was seriously injured in the shootout, but is recovering after surgery. Police say the suspect, named as local man Desi Freeman, is heavily armed and still at large, more than 24 hours on. Donald Trump's steep 50% tariffs on India have kicked in weeks after the US president issued an executive order imposing an additional 25% penalty on India over its purchases of Russian oil and weapons. This makes India one of the US's strongest partners in the Indo-Pacific, among the countries paying the highest tariffs in the world. This could deal a big blow to exports and growth in the world's 5th largest economy, given that the US was, until recently, India's largest trading partner. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall has triggered landslides and flash floods across northern India. On Tuesday, more than 30 people were killed near a popular Hindu shrine in Indian-administered Kashmir. Rains have also battered parts of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab states, leaving roads blocked and property submerged. Rescue operations are underway, with authorities deploying helicopters and boats to evacuate people stranded in the affected areas. South Korea has passed a bill banning the use of mobile phones and smart devices during class hours in schools, becoming the latest country to restrict phone use among children and teenagers. The law, which comes into effect from the next school year in March 2026, is the result of a bipartisan effort to curb smartphone addiction, as more research points to its harmful effects. Lawmakers, parents and teachers argue that smartphone use is affecting students' academic performance and takes away time they could be spent studying. SpaceX has pulled off a successful test flight of its newest generation rocket Starship, reversing a trend of disappointing failures. The world's largest and most powerful rocket blasted off from Texas for a nail-biting 60-minute flight. US space agency NASA plans to use Starship to send humans to the moon for its Artemis program in 2027. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk posted, "Great work by the SpaceX team." The Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge in China has undergone a 5-day testing process ahead of the scheduled opening in late September. A testing team drove 96 trucks onto designated points to test the bridge's structural integrity. Rising 625 meters above a river in Guizhou province, the bridge will, upon completion, set the record for both the world's tallest bridge and largest span bridge built in a mountainous area.
I think I'm more excited about this than I would be about my own engagement.
Oh my God! What is happening?
And the online world has been set alight after Taylor Swift announced her engagement to the American football player Travis Kelce. Reaction has been pouring in after the post by the couple, who have been together for 2 years.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
President Donald Trump had his say.
I have a biochem midterm today, but Taylor and Travis just got engaged.
College exams were postponed.
I can't focus. You all can't focus. Class is canceled. Get out of here. We got to go.
And news reporters struggled to contain themselves.
Taylor Swift is engaged. Taylor Swift is engaged. Come back to me. She just posted it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
In the announcement, the couple wrote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Super Eagles' first choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali is doubtful for Nigeria's World Cup qualifier against Rwanda in Uyo on September the 6th and South Africa in Bloemfontein on September the 9th. Nwabali was injured while on duty for Chippa United in the South African Premier Soccer League against Richards Bay FC in Durban. Nwabali sustained an injury while playing for his club, Chippa United, in a South African Premier Soccer League match against Richards Bay. He was stretchered off the field in the 35th minute and replaced by Elsin Sitholo. The full extent of the injury has not yet been confirmed and is still undergoing assessment by Chippa United's medical team. That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The All Progressives Congress, the APC, says despite the endorsement of President Bola Tinubu by various organs of the party, its presidential ticket remains open to other aspirants. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. From all of us here, it's good night.